Hello, we are the culture team. The issue we have been presented with is a loss of culture and tradition. Today we are seeing less and less cultural elements in our food and social behavior. Reasons for this include increase in fast food consumption, busier lifestyles, globalization, and a lack of knowledge on cultural and traditional ideas. We all lead busy lives, and for example, as you can see here, I play basketball. I personally go straight from school every day to basketball practice, which is 2 to 3 hours. I usually get home around 7 or 8 o'clock, then I have to reheat my dinner, then I can't even eat with my family. This just shows how I personally lose culture and tradition in my day-to-day life. This is not only happening in America, but with my fellow delegates in their countries. We are starting to see this trend in all of our country, and here are our call to actions.
Our first call to action is bringing culture back to the family. In order to do this, we have created 3 sub-solutions which will take place at our respective schools and communities, or even with family. Firstly, we thought of having family night, whereby we come together one evening to share culture, try traditional recipes, and spend quality time together. Secondly, we suggest parents, teachers, and students coming together to share a meal at school, to spend time bonding and enjoying cultural meals. Lastly, we considered holding a food festival in a local community. This could not only bring people together, but create an environment where not only adults can share culture, but children can also in an enjoyable way.
Our second call to action is increasing cultural and traditional education. Our idea is to start cultural classes in high schools, which students will learn about culture and ways to better maintain their culture. These students would then teach a free public health class. This would not only be beneficial to the students, but also people in the community willing to learn. Finally, before we move on to our third call for action, I have a question for you. What's the best type of ship? Friendship. Our third call to action not only introduces traditional culture, but also welcomes new friendships as well. We call this manor meals. We believe these call to actions are all realistic and feasible in each of our countries. So without further ado, our first call to action.
As we mentioned before, creating a family night could bring the culture back to the family. Family night is an event where the whole family gets together to have a fun time. So, how can we do a family night? The first idea is to use modernized recipes for the food cooked for family night. The next idea is to get everyone involved in the preparation process. So, the family will be able to bond while creating a family night. Cultural activities must also be integrated into the family night. You may face some difficulties while creating a family night. Firstly, time lacking. We usually don't have time to do a family night, so cooking and freezing food beforehand can help to overcome this difficulty. Also, family night should be inputted in into the family's calendars long time before the event. The second difficulty we can face is a lack of interest. The children or parents may not be excited about the family night. You should explain the idea of family night clearly. Then everyone would feel interested in taking part.
We would sell our idea using social media to spread the word to everyone who has access to social media. We think that providing food that everyone likes would be a great idea to really get the word to everyone, to really have success in spreading the word. Having a fun night is actually pretty good for everyone, and if you repeat it in like monthly, in a month, for example, it becomes a habit after time. The benefits of a family night would be a quality time with your family, getting the culture back to your actual life, and a relaxation after a busy day. We have an example for you. It's the Gordon Ramsay show, where Gordon Ramsay goes to families to cook with the whole family, including children. The next idea that we came up with is a school dinner, including parents, students, and teachers. We think that it would be a good time to provide this dinner between the exams and the holidays. A potluck system would fit in perfectly, so there would be no problem in getting the money to preserve the food. A school cookbook would help to really get every recipe that is traditional, maybe modernize them or just leave them as they are.
So there are a few difficulties that might be faced while organizing the school dinner. The first one being the lack of cooperation from the parents, students, and teachers. The method we thought to overcome this difficulty is by making the school dinner extremely fun so that everyone wants to join. The second difficulty we thought of was the lack of facilities. To overcome this, we thought that the school dinner could be held at the cafeteria or the classrooms. And the third difficulty is the lack of time. And to overcome this, the parents, students, and teachers can mark the school dinner dates in their calendars so that they make sure they have time for it. Moving on to the benefits of the school dinner. The first one is that this child is in a familiar atmosphere, which makes family bonding much easier. The second benefit is that the school life and family life of the child gets integrated.
The other subdivision is that community or food festivals can be held. The most important question is how can these festivals be held? The most basic step is to introduce this idea to your school or your community. Various organizations must be involved, such as local farmers or food companies selling their own products. The next thing that must be done is getting sponsors from the community. Here are some of the difficulties that might be faced. Funding is definitely a major difficulty which can be overcome by having donations from different people. The second difficulty is getting volunteers to overcome this. Some of the benefits could be offering such as free food for the day.
Now, moving on to the benefits of holding a food festival, maybe the most important one is that you can have the chance to enjoy a really traditional and healthy meal while bonding with your family and friends. So this is a really, really nice place to do this. Secondly, as festivals are really popular amongst teenagers, local farmers, food companies, small businesses, and even the organizers gain a lot of publicity by organizing and taking part in such events. We present you some examples of successful events: the Canto School Fair, Rhine Street Party from Germany, and the Romanian Street Food Festival, which is held in a lot of major cities.
As I mentioned before, our call to action is increasing culture and traditional education. The main reason for losing our culture is a lack of education. So, it is high time that we should propose the culture class. Why culture class is so important? Firstly, our local cultural heritages are our precious wealth. Losing our culture is losing our dependence. Secondly, globalization has brought a lot of influences. The pace of life has already gradually accelerated. There is not much time for people to live with their family. More and more, they can feel the warmth and reunion of their home. What's more, we can see the potential of spreading culture, economy, culture, lifestyle will benefit from it. That is why culture class is so important. But how to run this kind of class? A required class should be opened in high school for the first 2 years. Then, the last 2 years should be optional. Students learn from high school class can form a club where they can teach lower grade students and the public.
After knowing how public cultural education works, the question that pops into our mind is how to initiate it. We have found 3 steps of how to do it. The first is to start from your own school. And the second is to discuss with your administrators and find out the solutions to all the problems that you have regarding the call to action. And the third is finding teachers, volunteers, and experts in the preferred media. Moving on to the next slide, these are the lessons and activities that are held in our public cultural education. As you can see, there's an in-school class where most of the lessons are quite informative, and there's a public class where a lot of practical lessons are taken on. Here you can see there's one lesson called recipe exchange. This helps to create links between generations, and that is the main aim of our call to action. And talking about both the classes together, you can see there are organized dinners, cooking, creating healthy and traditional recipes, and so on. So this is none other than our own aim. And the next slide says, this depicts the main subdivisions of public cultural education. These are the resources, difficulties, examples, and the benefits that we could gain if we work according to the public cultural education. So my friends will now explain about them.
Thank you. Now, to start this PCE program, we need resources. Those resources are, firstly, local farmers. We need the help of local farmers to make them to teach children the importance of how to produce food. Now, secondly, is that traditional restaurants and food companies. Now, they can help PCE program by teaching children the benefits of using traditional recipes, ingredients, and also fundamental support for the PC himself. And then the last support resources that we need is by the experts. The experts here can have dual role as a recruitment officer and also as a teacher in both of the public culture education class in the public class and also in the high school class. Now, we have difficulties according to this. The difficulties that are listed are 3 difficulties. The first one is that to convince the administrators. Now, to tackle with this problem, we issued a solution to make a 1 long year trial run where the administrator himself can see how it works, and then after the end of the year, evaluate it, pros and cons, and the benefits and the loss, and then if it's success, continue and expand this program, and vice versa. Now, the second problem is to find teachers. The third problem is to find the students. Both of these problems can be summed up into one solution, is that to advertise it in social medias, the enjoyable activities that they can enjoy if they join this public culture education class, such as like cooking, garden, and factory tour.
And in terms of benefits, we divided benefits into 4 categories. And for the first one is about educational benefits. And through PCE class, we can get the knowledge about the real meaning of food, and it can change the way of thinking of seeing traditional food and culture. And for the second one, it's about social benefits, and children can be open-minded and always question about traditional food and culture. And you can improve the connection between generations by having recipe exchanges during the public classes, and students can also feel involved and they can raise their own responsibilities. And the third one is about economical benefits, and we can promote local businesses by using our locally grown food. And the last one is about our culture benefits, and we can promote our culture by conducting appealing and attractive activities such as trips to traditional food companies and inviting local farmers to have a lecture. And as a result, we can maintain a mental heritage which is passed down by mouth.